The sci-fi stuff in the future, we might be engineering bacteria that can create a molecule in response to a cue from their environment. For example, it could be possible to make ones that respond to low blood sugar by creating insulin. Go deeper, we're just starting to explore the potential of synthetic biology. Among other things, scientists have in an interview Monday Russian cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov reported bacteria had been found on the outside of the International Space Station ISS, and it hadn't been there when the ISS modules launched. Instead, the microorganisms swabbed from the cracks and crevices of the space station had come from outer space, he said. But the details of the analysis are so far thin. And, in a previous mission, bacteria from Earth made it to the space station via a tablet, supporting the possibility of contamination this time, too. Recent research also seems to indicate microbes can get kicked high above Earth in space dust and by other space weather events, which offers another very plausible reason for how bacteria wound up on the ISS hull. The bottom line, the bacteria probably came from Earth itself. Microbes are still partying at 9 miles up and have been found as high as 47 miles above the surface, Mary Griggs wrote in Popular Science. How it works: the system analyzes a patient's health records in comparison to data from about 2 million other patients collected over nearly 20 years and then makes a prediction about the patient's mortality. It also produces a report explaining how the patient's prescribed medications, the length of hospitalization and the severity of their illness were weighed by the AI in reaching its recommendation. The algorithm is being used in a pilot program at a university hospital. Yes, but Nell said properly managed trophy hunting can be an asset to conservation, which is why the group is not calling for a ban. One suggestion may be to restrict the age at which a trophy animal can be hunted in order to give them time to pass on their genes to the next generation and the population more broadly. In other studies, David E. Coltman, a biological science professor at University of Alberta, said that the results from Nell's study using a computer simulation model matched those of his own on bighorn sheep in the Rocky Mountains, where they've seen a 20% decline in the size of the sheep's horns due to decades of trophy hunting. Big picture: the Fish and Wildlife Service recently lifted a ban on importing hunted elephant trophies from Zimbabwe and Zambia when it can be proved it aided in conservation efforts. The announcement sparked outrage, which led to Trump tweeting and Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke releasing a statement saying permits would be put on hold while the decision about the ban was reviewed. What I saw at a school in Helsinki on Wednesday, I watched a class of second graders get the first hands-in time with the game. After 15 minutes, Contori had proved his point as he asked students to name the favorite characters. Several students raised their hand, shouting out names like helium, hydrogen and barium. Even more telling, several students were ignoring him entirely, instead asking to just keep playing. What's happening next? Nightmare wants to take its characters from Big Bang legends and create a chemistry app where they can be combined to create molecules, all new characters. Eventually they hope to take on an even larger segment of the $3 billion global education market. However, with just 20 people, the company's going to have to take things one subject at a time. Other programs: education is a big focus of the Finnish tech scene in general. At the same elementary school I taught Tuesday, a group of third graders were testing out a program called Mightifire, which aims to teach kids emotional skills by offering positive feedback to their peers. If we have anxious and bullied children, they end up losing hope, says Mightifire's Kirsi Harpamaki. That is probably the worst thing we can allow to happen as a society. Another Finnish startup, Fun Academy, is hosting a pop-up kindergarten outside of Slush. A program it is showing there is one that uses virtual astronaut training to teach concepts like scientific thinking and the value of physical activity and healthy nutrition. What's there? The Indus Valley archaeological sites include Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Although the sites were discovered later, the civilization appears to have been larger and more widespread than contemporary societies in Mesopotamia and Egypt, scattered along and throughout what appears to be a massive ancient riverbed. What they did, the researchers used satellite imagery to map the course of the Sutlej River through time, and determined that the Sutlej indeed formed the riverbed the civilization flourished along. However, when they dated the sediments in the channel left by the river, they found it hadn't run through that region for over 8,000 years. A benefit: it's possible the absence of the river helped the fledgling civilization. Some of the sites were actually built in the Paleochannel itself, and that makes no sense if there was a big raging Himalayan river there at the time, because these people would have been wiped out by devastating seasonal floods, study author Rajiv Sinha told the BBC. Not so fast. Rita Wright, an anthropologist who was not involved in the study, tells the BBC that it's important to keep in mind that the Indus civilization was large and sprawling, and this only examines one region of it. The Environmental Protection Agency worked with U.S. manufacturers to begin phasing out synthetic chemical perfluorooctanoic acid (PFOA) in 2006, which has prevented between 10,000 and 17,000 babies being born underweight, according to a new study per The Washington Post. Why it matters: a chemical used in things like pizza boxes and stain-resistant carpets was found in general population blood serum tests 99% of the time from 1999 to 2012, the WAPO. By cutting the chemicals used, and therefore reducing the number of babies born underweight, the head of the study, Leonardo Trasant, said there are also billions of avoided societal costs since low-weight newborns required additional medical care. But PFOA and a similar chemical, PFOS, are still found in millions of products used in the US. For the Post, soft robots with flexible and adaptable parts may be best equipped to interact with humans and occupy our sometimes unpredictable world. They can be more agile thanks to squishy and bendable materials, but they also require soft versions of motors which, until now, haven't been as strong as the rigid counterparts. What's new? In a paper published yesterday in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, researchers at Harvard and MIT outlined a new design for artificial muscles that can provide more power to the machines than previous designs. For The Verge's James Vincent, soft robots have so much potential, but up until now, one of the limitations has been payloads. Ms. Daniela Roos told Vincent, they're very safe, very gentle, but not good for lifting heavy objects. This new approach allows us to make strong and soft robots. How it works: the artificial muscle is made up of a deformable origami-like skeleton inside a sealed bag. Air or water, conceivably other fluids, is pumped in and out, creating a difference in pressure that contracts the skeleton's shape. The researchers report the muscle is able to use this action to lift 1,000 times its own weight. Different origami shapes can be used to produce different movements, twisting and bending. For example, by combining multiple muscles with different skeletal structures, the researchers envision being able to create machines that can perform complicated maneuvers, like picking up a tire. And, by changing the materials used for the different components, the muscles can be quickly and inexpensively fabricated for specific applications. The researchers made one that dissolved in water, where they could be used, medical devices, robotic exoskeletons that humans can wear, and large structures that can be deployed in space are all possible applications, the researchers wrote. Go deeper, read more about advances in soft robotics. Where two people hold different beliefs, there is a